excited about as this roster gets revealed, and maybe some difficulties you had in picking some of the players?
I think always it's exciting to have a roster. Always a roster for different circumstances are different in the last nearly 1 year that we are working. But always it's exciting because I think players that come back after a while, some period that didn't were involved, another that some new faces that we are going to see, and also to see the players that normally are coming. Yes, always is exciting because I think that type of period when you are not involved and you don't have contact with them, always is you are desperate to be with them and to start to work and to talk and to, because I think it's amazing what we have ahead. The World Cup is a dream that come true in few months, and it's so exciting to be together. And when you are together and when you start to talk and work with them, with the players, and I think you start to really feel the World Cup.
We'll take questions now from our virtual audience and begin with Stephen Goff from Yahoo.
Hi, Mauricio.
Hello, how are you?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Question about Tyler Adams and why he is not in camp.
Yes, he's expecting with his wife to have a baby in the next few days. That is why he's not here because of this reason. It's a positive reason. It's a good reason. I hope everything is going well. That is why he's not in this camp.
Next will be Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Mauricio. I appreciate it. I have two questions for you. Do you feel like this team is now getting closer to what you see the World Cup squad to be after a lot of different new faces trying to see people? And then secondly, how important is it for you right now to have a player like Christian in the form that he's in at Milan? Thank you.
Yes, always is a massive challenge. No, it's a challenging thing to have the player, and always believe that when the player join us, is to give and to provide the possibility to fight for a place in the World Cup. That is why for us it's always exciting, like I said to your colleague before, that is so exciting to in every single camp, because when you met the player, always is about to really give the confidence and the possibility to fight for a place. And that is a thing that is really important that we are feeling now. That is not because your name is one or another, you are going to have the place sure in the roster for the World Cup. That I think is an idea that we were fighting in the last year to try to fix. That change the culture, change the vision, change the idea of, okay, it's because on the past I performed in some way, or because I did well 4 years ago, now I am right to come and to use my place because that is my place. And I think that is changed a lot. I think the first are the players that buy this idea, and I think all together with the coaching staff, with the staff that we have here, that is great, and all together the federation and the player, I think we settle different principles, and I think the mindset is complete now different. I think it's important the player know that. And the second part of the question, and yes, always is important. I see Christian is a great player. He's a player that have continuity, and I think we can say that is the most important player now for the national team, that is performing and is playing under big pressure, and he need to perform every single week and every single game in a place like Milan, and he's doing well. And yes, we are so happy when he's scoring goal, giving assists, and performing. That is what we want, and now is to help him to arrive into the World Cup in the best place. You say, okay, but maybe Christian, you are talking about that is sure that is going to be in the roster. I think we know all that is a player that is performing and is a player that is really important for us, and that is we cannot hide and we cannot lie. But yes, so happy for us, so happy for him, and I think is to keep this level is the most important thing now.
Next will be Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Mauricio.
Hello.
Welcome back, Austin. Look forward to seeing you next week. You said last month, and then you said earlier today that the call-ups are not based off a player's name, what they've done in the past. So what went into the decision to bring back guys like Dustin McKenney, Tanner Tessman, Aiden Morris now? What have you seen from them with their clubs? They should decide that they should be champs.
Yes, I want to make clear that we never gave or give explanation to the player when we call, but even if we are not calling, even we don't give explanation to the player. That is why it's good to talk about the player that we are going to have in the roster, because I think they deserve, the 26 player in the roster, to talk about them. I think always it's about the process and in the way that we select and in the way that we want to put in place our ideas and how fit every single characteristics of the player in the way that we were after we want to play and to evolve like a team. And it's in for different circumstances. We analyze all the circumstances that are happen. We work 24 hours trying to assess and to see and to how we to connect, the player and with the idea to perform in the best way. I think this player that you say to me now, I think for different reasons deserve to be in the squad and to give the chance to be with us. Yes, that is why I think Weston played 90 minutes and that is good for a long period in Champions League against Villarreal yesterday, and that is a good signal for him and for us. And then Tessman and Aidan Morris are playing in a regular way, every single week, and are players that they need to have the continuity, and with continuity they can help us to arrive and to perform. I think it's important to have an idea also. Because we are preparing the World Cup, we are not preparing only these two games. Because, to come here and to play with 26 players, maybe like all the coaches, the coaching staff, they are going to share, because they are involved in different tournaments in different, countries. And I think we need to care about that, about how we manage the load and everything. But the important is that we are also thinking in a tournament like the World Cup that you need to play every 3-4 days. And if we are thinking into preparing to play not only the first 3 games, if not to go further in the competition, also we need to see players that have the possibility, to play every 3 games. That is why we are assessing player. We call player that with the possibility that every 3 days they can perform again, and they can perform again, because we are seeing that too many players that can be involved with us, they cannot play 2 games or 3 games in a week. And that is really, really, we need to be careful when we are going to build the squad. That is why we are trying to be very, 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 focused and assess in the way that we need to build a strong squad with 26 players that can perform every 3 days. Because if not, I think we can put in a dangerous situation to the national team. That is why I think it's important, and we decide in this moment to bring this player, because it's an open system. Everyone that performs is going to have the space, and then they need to convince us to call again. And because they need to perform now, and they are calling because they perform. But after, they need to come here and to perform, to follow the rules, and to behave in the way that we want that they behave, and with all the respect, and try to not to win only the game. It's not to think and to build something important, not only for this World Cup, that is the main objective, if not for the rest of the journey in this national team, because it's not after the World Cup is going to be the end of the world. We need to keep building, this idea of how we need to set the principle, and then to follow this principle.
Next will be Daniel Schwartzman.
Thank you, Michael. Hola, Mauricio. Muy buenos días.
Muy buenos días.
Un par de preguntitas. Quería preguntarte, ¿cómo valoras el gran arranque de Christian Pulisic con el Milan? Y la otra, lo de Alejandro Zendejas, que anotó doblete en el clásico contra Pumas, y si viste el golazo, ¿no? Que anotó con un toque sutil, y lo llegaste a ver, ¿qué te pareció esa definición?
Bueno, Alejandro, a estar with Alejandro, empiezo con Alejandro, ha tenido muy buen rendimiento. Bueno, siempre ha estado en nuestra idea. Después las combinaciones siempre hacen que a veces un jugador u otro pueda estar o no estar. Pero estamos muy contentos con él y esperemos que siga en esta línea, ¿no? Siempre depende, ¿no? Porque al final siempre decimos que va a depender en el estado de forma que lleguen, porque al final la Copa del Mundo va a ser en un tiempo determinado, ¿no? Y donde no va a haber mucho tiempo. Entonces, el challenge y el desafío es llegar a ese momento en las mejores condiciones. Entonces, lo bueno es prepararse y tener una línea ahora de rendimiento que pueda ser bastante estable, ¿no? Y como decía Jesús, lo vi en una entrevista que ha sido muy buena, que le recomiendo en gol.com. ¿Gol.com?
Go.com.
Gol.com, Jesús Pérez. Lo que tenemos que proveer es la plataforma para que nuestros jugadores, cuando performen en su mejor forma, lógicamente puedan mantener y que su peor día el gap no sea muy alto. Entonces, en eso, mantener esa línea es lo importante y es lo que queremos nosotros trasladarles también con sus cuerpos técnicos en todos los equipos que hemos visitado y que vamos hablando, de tratar de compaginar y de tener esa unión para que podamos proveerle de las mejores tools, herramientas para que ellos puedan rendir, porque ese es un gran desafío, es otra de las cosas que a veces no se ven, ¿no? Y que el trabajo que existe, ¿no? El compaginar y el entender en los procesos que existen en los diferentes clubes, porque todos tienen diferentes metodologías, diferentes momentos. Entonces ahí nosotros tenemos que ser un poco ese catalizador que entienda lo que realmente en el estado de forma que se encuentra, lo que se necesita, lo que no se necesita hacer, sobre todo lo que no tenemos que hacer, en los errores que a lo mejor no podemos cometer. Y entonces eso es algo que nosotros siempre ponemos delante del jugador de fútbol, ¿no? Y es el jugador de fútbol. Trabajamos para que muchas veces, que es difícil de explicar, pero que por qué manejamos los minutos en los entrenamientos de la selección, en los momentos de competición. Y yo creo que eso es un trabajo que gracias a la gran experiencia que tenemos con todo el staff, ¿no? De esta federación estamos logrando, sobre todo para llegar a la Copa del Mundo en el mejor estado posible, porque eso va a ser determinante y hay muchos ejemplos. Puedes ganar todos los partidos ahora, pero si después no llegas en el mejor momento va a ser difícil y el objetivo es llegar de la mejor forma, que 26 jugadores estén en su peak el día que comienza la Copa del Mundo y ese es el objetivo.
Seems appropriate to go to the author of the article that Mauricio mentioned on goal.com, Ryan Talmadge.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Mauricio.
You're
I
welcome.
want to ask about Anthony Robinson as he comes back to the team for the first time in almost a year. You know, last camp you were saying you were being a little bit careful with players at the beginning of the season and making sure they were fit. Obviously, Anthony hasn't played much, but how important was it to get him into this camp, and what does he offer, and how fit is he? How ready is he to
Yeah, the good thing,
90 minutes if needed?
yes, the good thing that he played 90 minutes, in the Cups during the last week, and then play a few minutes against Aston Villa in the Premier League. But I think it's a long time that we are not seeing him for different reasons. And I think today, because we know that he's an important player for us, and I think it's the moment to bring him. And of course, we were talking with his club. We are going to try to manage in the best way here. But it's important that he can be with us, with the group, with the teammate. I think always it's about to manage this type of situation that we can help our players to be more motivated and to change the environment also. I think that always can be positive. We are thinking in all the aspects. Sometimes people talk too much and they don't know how we work. But I think we care about all the aspects. It's not only about in a tactic way. in all the aspect that we can give some benefit to our players, and always we work all together to try to provide. That is a good example of Anthony, because you say, okay, Anthony is not playing too much, but I think the challenge is to help him to evolve and to, to start to feel the confidence again and to come back and to play in a regular way in his team. That this is going to be great for us.
Next will be Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Thank you, Michael. Hello, Mauricio.
Hello.
Just wondering, what's your assessment of the central strikers at the moment? You brought in Balogun and Wright and Ajimang. What are your thoughts on them? And I'm also curious why Yunus Musa and Joe Scally were not called into this game.
Next time you provide your list and your roster, and after we can debate, or everyone he can provide, because I think I'm not going to talk because we never gave explanation to the players that are not with us. When you are asking me about players that are not in the squad or in the roster, it's because I think in your mind you believe that they have right to be here. I think we need to respect the player of the 26. If not, we are going to start to ask to the social media why is not one player or another and decide about that. I think in soccer, like you say, and it's difficult, to understand that it's not too many players around the world that they it's not depend of the level, it's not depend if they are good or not, but you can talk about, if I don't know, maybe you can ask me why Messi is not in the roster, no? This type of player, Maradona, Pelé, I don't know. But when you are talking about, different names, I think you need to respect the players that are here. And I think we never give explanation, and I think we need to respect the players that are here. We talk, and I am open to talk about the players that are in this roster, but not in the players that are not with us. What I'm going to tell you is we are very focused, and we really work so hard in trying to build the best roster. And these names that you are telling me, of course, is an open system that maybe today are not here, but maybe they have the possibility to be in the next months here. We'll see. Or players that are here, maybe they are not going to be called again too. And I think we always try to bring the combination and to create the roster with a good balance and with the players that I think today deserve to be here. Future, we will see. Maybe these names that you are telling me, they will join us in the future.
What about the forwards?
Sorry? But you for
Balogun and Wright and Ajimang, what's your assessment of them?
My assessment? What means that? My assessment is, I think the three players, I think like Hashi scoring goals, Balogun have the continuity in Monaco, playing in a regular way, and I think Ajimang now is adapting better in his new place in England, and I think was important player in the Gold Cup, and then he suffered a small issue, an injury, and he cannot be available to be selected in the last camp, and now he's fit again, and that is why he's with us, because we believe it's a profile that can fit for us, and it's different to Hashi and different to Balogun, and I think can provide some characteristics different to the another.
Next will be Sanjay Sujanthakumar.
Gracias, Michael. Hola, Mauricio.
In Spanish, no?
Claro, por favor. Quería preguntarte sobre Balogun también. Él jugó muy bien en el último campamento, su primero con ti, y después de lo que has visto con Flo y su progreso con su club, anoche fue titular en la Champions contra Man City. ¿Qué esperas de él en este campamento y en el futuro? ¿Puedes hablar de su rol y su importancia en este equipo? Flo Balogun. Gracias.
Like I expect from all the players that we call, give their best, be in the place that we expect to be, and then perform. that is, I think, the things that we expect from him, but from all the players that are involved in the roster. Was difficult for him. The last year for us was, last campus that we had the possibility to call. But also, it's a player that is building his journey again. We need to be careful. Of course, we are going to manage in the best way to try to keep pushing, giving him the possibility to be consistent and regular in playing, in the time and not suffer some setback. And that is, for me, the challenge. But I think after to know him in the last campus, I think we are so happy with him. And yes, he's a good player with a great potential, still young, but I think he's very professional, and I think his work ethic, on the pitch, even if he's not in, I think he can improve. Is unbelievable in the way that the responsibility and the capacity, that work ethic that he was showing, and in the last camp is what we want to keep, because after the talent is there, he's a great player. I don't know what I changed in English.
That's why I was laughing.
Always.
You asked him to.
Yes, I asked about that, and then I moved. Yeah.
Sandra, you understood the English, right?
Claro.
Siempre le hago lo mismo.
La próxima vez.
Always the same. That is good signal.
Next will be Thomas Floyd from the Washington Post.
Thank you for the time. With this roster, Alex Freeman is the only natural right back. Obviously, Weston McKennie and Tim Weah have played as wing backs in the past. Just what is your thinking at that position going into this camp?
Yes, I think I cannot explain because if not, I'm going to give the idea to Ecuador and Australia. But I think in that way to build, different way to play, I think we can use different systems during the games, but also to approach the two games in a different way. And that is why I think, like you say, maybe Freeman is the wing back, but after we have, different animation in the way that we can adapt the team and to play. But it's true. I think if we play with in a different system, or in the last system that we used against Japan, I think Freeman or McKennie or Weah, they can play there. If we use back four, I think also we have not only Weah that used to play in Juventus or now in Marseille, is also Miles Robinson that can play there like a right back if we want to be more, putting a wing back more, open there and be more offensive, or yes, I think we have different ideas that I think that the squad provide us the possibility to change during the game, to change, in the approach of the game from the beginning and use different systems. I think, yes, I think we are happy in the way that we build the roster, and always thinking to provide the player the best positional game and then to perform. And I think it's going to be good, these two games, because we are going to face two very good teams like Ecuador and Australia. And I think it's important, to have different possibility to have in our, build in the way that we want to create the game plan, to have different players that can provide different possibility to play.
We'll take a few more questions and continue with Henry Bushnell.
Thanks, Michael. I'm Mauricio. Thank
Hello.
you for your time.
You're welcome.
You mentioned earlier that you don't give explanations to players who are called into camp, and you don't give explanations to players who are not called into camp.
Exactly.
Why? Why don't you give the explanations?
To which, the first or the second?
Both.
Because I think in my philosophy, in our philosophy, or in the way that I grow, feeling that sport, player no need. Player no need to know. And if the player need to know, it's because they don't really feel that sport in the way that I feel. That doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. Because you really know when you play, why you play, and when you don't play, you also deep down you know why. I don't want to use the same word that I use in Columbus, no? The rest is this word. Because it's the player use some time to justify, or they want to know what the evidence. And if you explain, you are going to make happy the player. The player, they need to know. The player that they were not called today, they need to be desperate to perform better and to do better and to improve. But that is the exigence in the clubs. And the players that were called need to arrive here and be desperate to perform, score goals, save, tackles, run more than the opponent, and to convince us to have the possibility to call again. That is the challenge. And we show in 1 year that that is not personal. And we are really open. We call player and then we didn't call the ones after. Or we didn't call and now we are calling a new player, Shane Sand. And why? And you can ask me why you call this guy. If in 1 year we didn't call and it's less than 1 year to the World Cup. Yes, because we really believe in to give the possibility. Because he is playing, he's one of the players that is playing in a regular way every week in his club and is doing well. And that is the most important thing. And if you say to me, why you not call another player, why you don't give explanation, what they want to hear? If it's a player that is not playing in a regular way, what are they going to tell? You are going to come and are going to reward because you are not playing in your club? Or even if you are playing, and if for us, another player maybe can do better, today, not tomorrow because tomorrow doesn't exist, today we call another player. That is, I think it's so easy. That is not a sport to give too much explanation, and because it's one example. Do you think that the player called us when the player that we didn't call for the World Cup, why we are not in the roster in the World Cup in summer? The players that were no one called us, oh coach, why you didn't call me? Because I wanted to go. No one. But after I close the World Cup, and maybe sometimes like you say, why you not give an explanation? No, if they don't need explanation. It's about to perform. And then, of course, nothing is personal. And more than me, more than us, is not another person more interested in to win. And for sure, if you are the best and you are performing the best in the best way in your club, for sure we are going to call you. We have experience, and I think we assess all the player, and that is why we don't give explanation, because it's too many things on the air that when you are a soccer player, you understand. And people, the real people, doesn't want to listen this word that I don't want to use. Because if I am going to call a player that I didn't call, and I say, oh, keep going, keep doing well, but you are in my mind, but if you are going to make happy this guy, it's impossible. And then if you bring a player and say, oh, I love you, but after it's not performing and you are not going to call, you say, yeah, but you told me you love me. It's too many things. It's difficult to explain because I think we need to spend here maybe more than 1 hour. But I think in the way that they grow, in the way that I see the things, how I feel soccer, football for me, is completely different. I think that is why I think player need to perform, need to think to try to convince us, and the player need to think a little bit what we expect from them. Of course, that is different question. What we expect. If the player asks what we expect from them, of course, players that are here in the squad, in the roster today, and players that can call us and say, what do you expect, coach, from us? That is a different question. That I can explain and speak half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. And we can see videos and everything. But different is why I am not here. No, that is a different question. That is why I think we need to learn in the way that, how we ask the question. The player need to also learn how to ask the coaches, you know, but this is really, really important because I say this the same than before. In my world, explanation are not positive things, you know, in that sport for me.
We'll make our last question from Charlie Bohm from MLSsoccer.com.
Thank you, Profe, for explaining that Pochismo. It helps us so much.
Sorry?
My question is...
What you say? You can repeat, please?
Charlie, what was the word you used?
Pochismo. That was fantastic explanation.
Pochismo?
So thank you.
Pochismo. Ah, okay. No, thank you. That is a new Pochismo. I'm going to Pochismo.
My question is very important.
Thank you.
But I just wanted to ask, one of the last players called into the last month's roster was Christian Roldan.
Yes.
He was a late addition, and now he's back, making another opportunity after a long time out. So I just wonder what type of impression he made on you and how he earned this opportunity.
But that is a good example. Christian, I didn't know Christian. Okay, we were, you know, always assessing him and seeing, and we knew about his CV and everything. But I think when it was the opportunity to bring, and then when we saw and the possibility to play, but in the way that he behaved, you know, with the group, with the teammate, I say, I don't know if I'm going to call in November. I don't know, Today is here. But that is a good example that how you need to want to be involved and defend and fight for your place in this amazing country, in this amazing sport that is soccer. You need to arrive and show your personality and your character, and then be available always. If you play, you behave the same if you don't play, because that is another thing that we were talking with before the press conference with Michael and Sam and all the coaching staff here in Austin. It's unbelievable to see how the players behave different when they know that they are going to play and when know that they are not going to play. And that is the most difficult thing. You need to understand when you not play that maybe you want to play, but it's not right to behave in a different way. That process needs to be inside yourself, and you need to feel the pain inside. But outside, you need to provide your best, you know, support to your teammate, the staff, the national team. And Christian is a good example that playing or not playing, of course, was the first camp. See how he's going to behave now in the second. Hope that behave the same, because if not behave the same, you know, we are going to put in question the next call. But I think all these things are important. You can tell me, yeah, but after if he not perform, of course, he need to behave like this and then to perform. Because if he not performs, it's a thing that, you know, is difficult to call again. But if you behave like this and you perform, you, for sure, for us, is always going to be open, you know, the national team for this type of profile of player, no? And this is really, really important.